Welcome to the Project Purpose podcast. I am your host, Sheryll. If this is your first time, welcome. This podcast is where we talk all things money, mindset, and leveling up your life. It is geared towards the ambitious woman who is looking to create a life of purpose and impact. So, some of the topics that we'll cover in the near future include mastering your money mindset, as well as learning to create financial independence. We'll also be talking about how to create and develop meaningful relationships, as well as how to develop healthy lifestyle habits. And again, because we're talking about that purposeful life, we'll dive into how to create the best version of yourself. So we'll be talking about personal development as well. So welcome everyone. I am excited to have you here. I have to share with you that, I've been wanting to do this for about a month now. And today's actually January 31st that I am recording this because I had started doing it. And in front of the camera, I did not realize that I was so shy. So I told myself, regardless of the fact that you're feeling like you're not ready, that Sheryll, today is the day to dive in. And so that is what I'm doing. We're going to learn and grow together. So again, welcome to the podcast. And I told myself 30 days ago that I would start a podcast, and I almost did not get to start. Finally, I said, okay, today is the day, Sheryll, just take a shower and get on camera, right? And I wanted to share that because there could be individuals out there like myself that is just feeling, fearful and anxious. And if you're not careful, you allow that fear to hold you back and not moving forward into your journey. So I do have my cheat sheets with me that I'll be going over, right? So as I mentioned before, I wanted to open up about just being camera shy. It's funny because I'm able to just run my mouth all the time in front of my family and friends. However, when it comes to the camera, it's like I have nothing to say. Right? And I'm like, what is that? You just have to get over the doubt, right? You have to get over the overthinking it. Am I doing the right thing? Will it sound okay? How do I sound on mic? Right now, I'm telling you, it's a little crazy because I'm using the headphone and I have the mic and I hope I'm coming in clearly, but it sounds crazy to me right now. But we're going to move on. Like I said, you can either let the fear hold you back or you can feel the fear and move forward anyway. So, we're going to push through it together. And the reason why I want to do it is because I believe that I have something to say. And I believe what I have to say is more powerful than the fear that is trying to hold me back, right? I've always been passionate about money for many years now. I did not grow up with it. As a matter of fact, I allow my environment and my beliefs to hold me back for a very long time. And finally, I decided to learn, to research, to grow. And I believe, that as I learn, I can teach. So I have a lot to say about finance. And I believe that this is a good space that we can actually talk and learn and grow together. So that's one of the reasons why I decided to face my fear. Also, it allows us to grow, right? We have to make mistakes. We have to be judged, so to speak. If we don't take the step, if we don't take the risk, we'll never have a story to tell. So again, as I mentioned before, if you're like me and you have been wanting to start something, a podcast, a YouTube, a blog, whatever it may be, and it's been taking you a while, let us start together and we will learn as we grow, right? Do the thing and you'll get the power. So if that's you, I want you to drop a comment below saying, push forward, right? We're going to push forward together. Again, as I mentioned, it's progress over perfection. Over the last 30 days, I cannot tell you the amount of work that I put into this. And here I am today at the end of the 30 days, and I am still not ready in my head, right? In my head, I'm still not ready. In other words, unconsciously, I was waiting to be perfect. And we all know that progress is better than perfect. It is in doing the thing that you become better. So that's why here, I tell you, it's just amazing. I find every excuse not to start. And I got everything prepared, and then I was like, Sheryll, why aren't you starting? What's going on? So eventually I turned the camera on, right? And I looked at it. It's on, right? I can see the red button. It's recording. And I was like, whoa, I'm actually camera shy. Go figure. So as I mentioned too, this is the first episode, and I know I'm making a lot of mistakes, and I can't wait to create the 100th episode and look back on this one and have a good laugh, together. Now, here's my calling to you. As I mentioned, it's a new podcast. Why should you watch? Why should you subscribe? Why should you tune in to the podcast, right? So what's in it for you? I believe that women needs to understand money. It's been a long time that it's been a man's world, right? Men have always been the breadwinner, so to speak, the one that makes the money, and the women stay home and take care of the children and take care of the home. However, we now realize because of cost of living that the one income is no longer able to take care of your lifestyle. So we need two income. And as women go out into the workspace, because it was never our vacation, right? We were always at home. As we move into the workspace, we realize that, yes, we're now making the money, but a lot of us just do not know how to manage it, how to handle it, how to make the money, keep the money, and grow the money. So this podcast will be talking about all of that stuff, along with much more. It's going to be a space where we can empower and educate each other. So that's what's in it for you. Also, it's going to be a real conversation. Luckily for you, it won't be just about me, right? I will be having interviews with different guest speakers from time to time. So it will be real conversation, right? No bluff. It will be things that will be relatable. As mentioned before, not only will we be talking about money, but we'll also talk about creating meaningful relationships, right? Not just relationships with your spouse, but also relationships with your children, right? With your siblings, with your parents, with your colleagues, and even with your business partners, right? How do you make people feel when you leave the room, right? Those are characteristics and attributes that can be developed for you to become someone of impact. Do people get excited and inspired when you're in their presence, when you're in their association? So that's meaningful relationship. Also, one of the biggest things that is affecting our nation right now, or the whole world really, is health, right? And we understand that there is really no wealth without health. Funny how people would actually sacrifice their health to gain all of the wealth, and then we'll turn around and use all the wealth to gain back our health, right? So we're trying not to get to that place. We want to be proactive and start intentionally creating healthy habits. So we'll be talking about a lot of that. We'll also be talking about mental health, which is a big thing now. It's still something that is like a stigma. It's still not widely accepted as yet, but mental health is very important. So we'll be talking about that as well. Super excited about that. I've got a lineup of interviews for you, including my favorite psychologist. So I'm looking forward to having her on the interview to talk about mental health for you real soon. But not just mental health, just, talking about how to treat adequate sleep, how to get used to the space of knowing that adequate sleep is important, how to make sure that you are getting enough sleep, how to take your sleep seriously, right? Also, just everyday lifestyle, like we're going to talk about juicing, and we're going to talk about food prepping. And definitely we're also going to go into some fitness tips, such as, lifting weights for women, but also being outdoor as well, and just enjoying yourself, enjoying the family while taking care of your physical and mental health. So we'll be talking about that. Again, I have my favorite person to talk about that, my favorite health coach. In this space, I actually have a few. So I'm looking forward to doing interviews with them. But of course, my favorite will be my sister. So I'm looking forward to her coming on camera with us real soon to talk about that. As mentioned also, we'll be talking about how to become more confident so that you step out into your true purpose, and how to tap into personal development to ensure that you're living that purposeful life, right? I've always used this analogy that a lot of times we associate success with confidence, but that's not always the case. Someone might be very successful in their career, in their vocation, in their skill set. However, they may lack confidence, and you're like, why is that? It's a mental thing, and we'll talk about how to overcome that, just like I'm doing right now, right? We'll also be talking about knowing what your true values are, having your values being tested, so to speak, and affirm them that this is what you value. This is, what drives you. So, for example, are you someone that loves to give back, to volunteer, to be out in the community? And what organizations, are a part of your heart? So definitely look into having interviews with my absolute favorite person to talk to about that, which is my hubby, that will be coming on camera as well very soon to talk about, working with the youth and working with the inner city kids and things like that, and many other topics. So that's the information that I have to share with you today, guys. We want to not just talk the talk, but also walk the walk. So we want to make sure that we're creating practical tips for you to be able to implement. We also definitely looking forward to sharing some heartfelt stories. You'll be definitely hearing more on my stories, right? As mentioned before on other social media platform. I'm actually from a third world country, right? I'm from Jamaica. So as you can imagine, did not grow up with a lot, and did not grow up with money. And, in retrospect, looking back now, I realized that I was so blessed because some of the things that we were doing, was actually good for us. For example, we were not able to eat snacks, right? We never go to the supermarket and get snacks. We always felt so lacking because of that. Our snack was literally going to the countryside and eating sugarcane, eating oranges and mangoes and bananas, right? And that would be our everyday life. Then it had felt so humbling, to be honest with you. But now looking back, you realize that was the healthy food, right? Because these snacks nowadays are loaded with so much chemicals. They're processed food, and they're really not good for you. They're killing our kids. So I'll be sharing my story. I'll be letting you know in future episodes how, my sister and I, who is my twin, I remember us being in high school together and not having money for lunch. So I'll be telling you what we did during lunchtime. And not only did we not have money for lunch, but in Jamaica, again, because it's a third world country, you did not have the opportunity to have free bus. I tell you, it's so privileged here in America, which is where I'm filming from right now, where the kids are so used to having school bus. We never had that. We literally had to take the public transportation. So in school, not only did we not have lunch, right, but we did not have the funds, the money to get back home. Like my mom would send us to school on faith. Honestly, like we would be in school, we had nothing to eat, and we had no idea how we were going to get home because we didn't have the money. So I'll be sharing with you in future episodes how we got home and also what we did during lunch break, right? So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Definitely. Again, why should you listen? Because success, happiness, and fulfillment, they're not just dreams, right? I believe, like myself, right? I believe that a lot of ambitious women are out there that is not just looking for the easy ride. They're willing to put in the work. However, most of us are not educated on, as I mentioned before, managing your money, even managing your household, how to run a household, how to negotiate on the job, so on and so forth. So we want to make sure that we're not just living a dream, but we can actually implement it. We can actually create our version of fulfilled life, our version of success. We'll be definitely talking about that as well. And we'll also be talking about spirituality, sharing our beliefs in the higher power, where we stand, sharing world concern and worldviews. Sometimes we tend to think because it's not bothering us, it's not happening to us, and it's not in our household, that it's not our problem. But the truth is, we're all citizens of the universe. And so what affects one affects all. And we want to, again, as I mentioned before, bring this platform into a space where everyone can share, everyone can feel welcome, and everyone can feel valued, regardless of what their concern is. We'll be open to listen and to understand, to put ourselves in their shoe, and to see what it is that we can do to make this world a better place. We want to not just pray and read the Bible. We want to actually be the Bible, walk the Bible, and talk the Bible. So we'll be talking about spirituality as well. All right, guys. So that's the information that I wanted to share with you today. Oh, and I want to say also that I'm not really sure how long this is, but I guarantee you it's not yet 30 minutes. Did you know that the average podcast is 45 minutes? That was something else that was scaring me. I really was like, what will I be saying for 45 minutes? Now, if you're interviewing someone, it's different, right? You're in a dialogue and you're talking back and forth, so that can go longer. So, and of course, I want to make sure that I am bringing you value and not just, just talking on and on. So I will continue, as I mentioned, to do my research and to bring you value. But I cannot, emphasize the fact how much, even just doing this right now, I'm still so nervous. So I appreciate your support. I appreciate you plugging in, and I'm really looking forward to the feedback and ongoing communication and engagement with you. I've been so nervous that I'm actually standing up. I could not even sit down. I'm like, okay, girl, you gotta get up. You gotta get up. You gotta do this. And again, as I mentioned, if someone is out there and you are just like me, you're feeling shy, you're feeling afraid, I want you to know that you're not alone. You need to take action. You need to just do it. You need to fail. I believe that's one of our biggest obstacles for not achieving our success. We are just afraid to fail. And if you are afraid to fail, that means that you will fail because you will never do it. If you never do it, then there's nothing to compare it to. There's no progress. There's no review, and there's no correction because you never did it. So you're not alone in feeling shy, feeling afraid, feeling anxious. But I'm here to tell you that if I can do it, you can do it too. As mentioned before, we want to make sure that we're giving out practical and real advice. So that is why we would love for you to subscribe to the channel and also share it with your friends and families so that we can continue to learn and grow together. And we're also creating a community of ambitious women, and we're raising ambitious women, and it becomes a supportive group and space that we can share and grow and succeed together. So if you've been thinking of starting something and fear has been holding you back, this is your message. This is your sign that you need to really push forward and move into getting it done. Just to recap, this episode is just about me sharing with you how shy I've been in front of the camera and I want you to know that you can be shy and you can still move forward and do it. In the very near episode, some of the topics that we'll be covering is we're going to talk about financial growth and independence. And in that segment, it will include things like how to save and invest wisely. We're also going to talk about building multiple streams of income. I know no one likes to talk about budgeting, but we'll talk about that as well, because budgeting, again, is something that has that negative stigma to it. We often think that it's restrictions, but it's actually freedom. Budgeting is about dictating where your money go instead of wondering where your money went, right? And most importantly, we'll be breaking that limiting money mindset beliefs, right? That limiting belief about money, which often, of course, as mentioned before, is in your mind, right? It's your beliefs, it's your value. It was planted from a child, through your environment, your surroundings, and through your family. But yes, you too deserve a great lifestyle. You too deserve to have abundance. You are a child of God, just like anyone else, and you're just as deserving, just as adequate, just as capable. And as long as you put in the value, right? And we'll talk a lot about this, because we don't want to be naive to think that if we say some affirmation, we'll suddenly get rich. Or if we start thinking good thoughts, we'll suddenly get rich. Or even if we join an organization, right? Especially in today's world where there's a lot of information on the internet and people are selling the get rich quick scheme. It's everywhere. And if you're not careful, the way they sell the dream, you tend to think, okay, I just have to sign up, pay for this, and I'll be rich, right? And that's not the case, guys. You have to put in the work. However, we want to focus on working smarter, not harder. So in other words, we all have to become better people. We have to become more. We have to become more valuable to the marketplace. Just think back on your childhood and even into teenage years and adulthood. As you look around in the workspace, right? Who normally makes the most money in your community, in your environment, right? It is usually the people that give a lot of value. Now, as a child, we really don't know that. We did not comprehend that. However, instinctively, we give those people respect. So think of the shop owner, the supermarket owner. We all know that the supermarket owner deserves more respect than the person that washes the dishes. Now, for another topic, we know that all humans need respect, right? So we're not coming from that angle. However, we're talking about you instinctively give the supermarket owner respect and you call him or her Mr. Jones, so to speak, right? It is because Mr. Jones is offering a lot of value in the marketplace. What about your doctor? You know, someone that is a doctor, someone that is a lawyer, right? Most of the time, those are the three people that we instinctively give respect to: a doctor, a lawyer, and a business owner. There are other people, but, you know, for example, an engineer, right? We often just think of them as, unless they own their business, we still think of them as a worker, right? And they may get respect, but not as much as they may have to earn their respect. Whereas automatically when you go to the doctor, you have respect for the doctor. You're just like, oh, that's Dr. Jones, you know, the lawyer. Everyone knows about them. You know, I love my lawyers. But that's a part of life. That is you giving value. And the more value you give is the more money you make. Again, if you should, on a Sunday, drive around into the best neighborhood in your community and you look at all the big, beautiful homes, who do you think own those homes? I guarantee you it's the judge, you know, the sheriff of the community, the business owner, the doctor. Nowadays, even the doctor have to step up a little bit more, right? Now it needs to be, back in the days, it used to be just a doctor, maybe a dentist. Now it needs to be a surgeon, a cardiologist, the oncologist. Has to be someone really high in his medical field to be able to own those big homes. My point is to wrap this up. We can earn just as much money when we decide to give good value as well. Now, how do you give good value? You become more, right? You learn skills, you learn new skill sets, you extend your degree, and you just become more. And it's not just in your career, but how do you become more assertive, right? How do you negotiate? Are you a great negotiator? Are you someone that can resolve conflict? Are you someone that can lead? Are you a leader? Do people respect you and listen to you? So you become more valuable. And as you become more valuable, you can earn more. And we'll get into the mindset, because there's still people who are super valuable, but they may not be earning as much. And that's simply because somehow they still believe that they don't deserve more. So we'll talk about how to be courageous and confident about asking for a raise or raising your price on a particular service that you offer, to know that you actually earned it and you deserve it. All of that is money mindset, and we'll be talking about that and so much more. So that's the information that I wanted to share with you today, guys. I did it, right? We started a podcast. Woohoo! So this is wonderful. And so if this is your vibe, right? If you feel that you can relate to some of the things that I just mentioned, I know I was babbling on. We want you to subscribe to the channel, and we want you to also share the information with your friends and family, as mentioned before, so that we can all grow and just get better and better and better together. I'm looking forward to hearing about your comments and your reviews. Please share with me. Thank you so much for watching and sharing. And until the next episode, bye for now.